In my last video about how to fire your public defender, I described the type of hearing that you have to request, how you talk to the judge. Judge, I need to fire my public defender. And I described how one way to get your public defender fired and get the judge to replace you and give you a new one was by describing in detail how your public defender was not doing their job, that they were just doing a poor job or pretending to do their job. But I'm going to do a personal story here. Another way to get your public defender fired is if there's a breakdown in communication. So this is a true story about what happened to me years ago when I was in Fresno as a public defender. So I was handling felony cases, and I was assigned a felony robbery case, what we call a hot resburg, and that's a robbery of a home when the people are actually home. And that makes the felony even more serious because there's the potential of violence and death and people shooting or stabbing each other. Anyway, my client was an African-American young man, and he was accused of a felony resburg, and I was his attorney. And I don't really recall why he didn't like me. I'm not a racist. The reason I'm saying he's African-American is important for this story. I don't know why he didn't like me, but he wanted to get rid of me. And I was doing my best to try to help him as much as I could to defend him against these charges, to try to either get a not guilty by going to trial or try to minimize the punishment that he could face for such a serious charge. It doesn't matter, but the point is that he decided that he wanted to get rid of me and he wanted a new public defender. So this is what he did. We go to court, and he did exactly what I had mentioned in the previous video. Your Honor, I need to fire my public defender. So the judge clears out the entire courtroom and then has a closed hearing, a private hearing, and asks my defendant, well, what's wrong? Why, do you want to get rid of Mr. Benavides? He's a good attorney. He's in front of me all the time. He works hard. He's capable. You got a good lawyer. Why can't you work with him? Well, Your Honor, he called me the N-word. That's all the judge needed to hear. It wasn't true, and I denied that because I never did call that young man the N-word. But the accusation alone was enough for the judge said, that's it, I've heard enough. Mr. Benavides, your office is relieved, and then he appointed another office, another version, the alternate public defender. So here is an example of what happened to me. I was let go from that case because of a false accusation of racial slurs. And so this is an example of breakdown in communication. When someone calls you a racial slur, that's it. There's no more communicating. The relationship between the defendant and the attorney is so destroyed that there's just no way they can work together. And so this is one example of when you can basically pressure the judge to replace your previous public defender, get a new one, if there's a breakdown in communication. And so a racial insult, that works, whether it's true or not. And in my case, it wasn't true. But the truth is, I was fired and the client got himself a new public defender, the alternate defender office. So that's another example. A breakdown of communication will also get your PD fired.